cmpradio.net. It's the station.
I think perhaps you better get aboard and order the train out immediately, huh?
Yes, sir. He doesn't have expert opinion. He's an expert at giving his opinion.
Stop the train! Stop the train! Move the train! Stop the train! Stop the train!
You know UFC, Dana White. Did y'all hear about how the Whites celebrated their this ball in their New Year? They were in Cabo St. Lucas, I believe. White and his wife of 26 years, they were at this club called El Squid Row in Cabo. Things got a little heated between them. Here's a video of it. It's a little bright because it's New Year's and whatnot, but he just about to give it another out of control. White was on the interview recently and he said there's no excuse for his behavior. He said it was obviously an alcohol fueled argument, and he said that there's no excuse for his behavior, right? He said there's no excuse for hitting a woman. And I'm like, see to me, yeah, I mean, that's a case in point, because I mean, everybody keeps their hands to themselves. Everything will be everything. But I'm saying, who are we to judge, folks? Listen, we don't know. This could just be how they say
being joyful.
Happy New Year's in the White household.
Those amputee is on the train, and to save a piece or care.
On the D train with Darren, DeVoue.
I avoid business, huh?
Touchdown, 1, 2, 3. Hit 'em low, hit 'em high, and watch our Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles fly, on the road to victory. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
Yes, sir. Hello and welcome aboard the D Train with Darren DeVoue on cmpradio.net. It's the station as well as the voice of Chester, Pennsylvania. I am your host, Darren DeVoue. Welcome aboard, folks. Come on, it's a happy day. Celebrating our big day. Birds coming up today. We're going to talk about a black man that's not worth talking about for a quick moment, and a black man that's worth talking about. Also, a damn double amputee. Hell's bells. Had to wait for this to burn out. Hell's bells. Don't forget, CMP, the D Train is brought to you in part by the Boys and Girls Club of Chester. The Boys and Girls Club of Chester has many after-school programs. Also, it's a great place for socialization for your kids. Check out their activities and their schedule of events at Boys Girls Club Chester. And also you can go to the cmpradio.net YouTube and Facebook page and also check out our sponsors, the cmpradio.net page, and check out our sponsors there. This week was a good one. Oh, I put some dye in my hair this week. I don't know if anybody noticed. Don't worry. I won't be sweating dye like Ray Lewis. Although you like to think that the dye in his brain is part of that hyper intensity of his, but no, it's that brother. It's always 3rd and 9 with that brother. Speaking of ex-Ravens, let's talk for a moment about this gentleman here. Ed Reed had an interesting week. Last week, Ed Reed was scheduled to be the head coach for the HBCU Bethune-Cookman. All right, but then Mr. Reed decided to take a grievance of his to social media. Now, I've always said before, Twitter can be a 140-character resignation letter. And in this case, nowadays in the TikTok age, you got 60-second resignations. And here was how Reed decided to resign.
But now I'm out here walking with the football team, picking up trash. But I'm mutting us. Man, get out of here, man. I should leave. I'm not even under contract doing this. I'm mutting us. Man, get out of here, man. They mutting me. These motherfuckers ain't even clean my goddamn office when I got here. I'm mutting y'all. Get your ass, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. All this shit here was trash in front of me. Who you think got this shit cleared out? That building right there got trash in it. It's fucking trash. What are you talking about?
Buddy.
I need no goddamn donors to come out and help out, because people just want money.
Oh, man.
That's why I don't fuck with social network. Fuck out of here.
Okay. Now, here's the thing. Reed didn't even have the job yet, officially. He had negotiated. They were in negotiation. He hadn't signed that contract, right? So, one, you know it's an HBCU. You know they're underfunded. You're coming there to help things, and what do? You get there and you're trashing them on social media, no less. Be bad enough if you were in a meeting doing this, but here you are on social media going, and you you trash your job. You don't even talk shit. I mean, I trashed the job after I quit the job. No. I trashed the job after I had accepted a job already, then resigned from that one. Then you start trashing it. I mean, come on. Oh, shit.
Chess, it ain't checkers.
Hello. But then, and not to mention, Reed, come on, man. It doesn't help the situation when you're trashing the place, bringing it down and everything around you. Come on, man. But then again, like I said, he's spent many years around Ed Reed spent many years around Ray Lewis. So therefore, it's always third and 9 to those brothers. But let's talk about this young man here. This is Marcus Stokes, speaking of HBCUs. Now, Marcus had gotten himself, last August, he had a scholarship to the University of Florida. So he was going to be taking the field for the Gators this upcoming fall. But unfortunately, young Mr. Stokes put himself in a position, speaking of social media, so a video surfaced this past November, and that Stokes had posted. He's rapping along with a song, and of course he's dropping M-bombs galore. So that video surfaced in November, and so Florida said, yeah, that scholarship, Marcus, we'll just take that back right there. All right? So, I mean, him and Reed are in the same boat because, I mean...
I get you. I get you. The sweetest deal, and you shit all down it. You just shit all down it.
All down it. So, Stokes wound up getting his scholarship revoked, but, and wouldn't you know, an HBCU, being Division II Albany State, came to his rescue and offered him a scholarship. Of course, that backlash came on the school president when it got out about what Stokes had done to wind up at Albany State, because he was a 4-star recruit. He was obviously a Division I quality player, but he put himself in this position. But I'm saying the N-word, I mean, I'm not trying to, you could say the N-word is in the song. I mean, there is that point you could, but the HBCU, Albany State, wound up revoking his scholarship then too. And I'm like, how is this kid supposed to atone? I mean, you could have turned it, this could have been a serious redemption story. He could have been the white tiger of Albany State. It could have been like that made-for-TV movie with Bruce Jenner. If nobody remembers, and yeah, that Bruce Jenner, that same one. It was a movie, made-for-TV movie, Grambling's White Tiger, and it was based on a true story. They could have gave Stokes an opportunity for redemption there, but instead, young Mr. Stokes, he wound up getting another scholarship offer, but when you sentence, I don't think that a person should be sent away for racism. All right, I'm always in favor of, like, when they're sentencing a guy for a hate crime, a judge should be like, Are you familiar? How are you, sir, with taking Hajj? Are you familiar with that? No? Okay. What about Ramadan? Can you tell me when that is? Don't worry about it. You'll be able to answer those questions because I'm sentencing you to prison and you'll be staying with the brothers. So say goodbye to your pulled pork sandwiches, sir. And in that way, in that respect, he's going to come out. He's either going to, on one or two outcomes. He's either going to, one, not be a racist anymore, probably come out with the kufi and whatnot, or two, he's going to have a good reason to be racist. I remember that. What's that one brother's name that always, he goes around and he gets Klan members to wind up giving them their hood, giving this brother his hood and robe. Like, that's how you do it. Travel is the enemy of prejudice. But anyway, Alabama A&M, that they have offered Division II Alabama and A&M. Interestingly enough, another HBCU has offered young Mr. Stokes a scholarship. No word on if he's accepted it or not. So, speaking of hating black people, Jason Whitlock. Jason Whitlock was on the Tucker Carlson last week, and they were discussing the protests around the Tyree Nichols murder, and Whitlock had this interesting assessment to offer. Oh, you're going to love this, folks. It's going to take a minute for him to bring it on home, but here we go.
Everyone's behaving inappropriately, including these 5 Memphis police officers. It's an open and shut case. The camera from above captures the police doing something totally illegal. The second-degree murder charges are warranted. This is going to be a revisitation of the Walter Scott, the guy that got shot on camera by a cop in the back. He got convicted, went to prison. It's an open and shut case. This is too. I don't get what people are protesting about. These are 5 black officers. The victim is black. The police chief is black. The police have been fired and charged, and they will be convicted, I would assume, by a predominantly black jury in a city that's 65% black. So the system is going to work here. What the other system that's working is the corporate media's insistence on promoting racial division. Charged, and they will be convicted, I believe, that's 65% black. So the system is going to work here. What they're doing in Ukraine as they drag America and the world into World War III. This is a distraction, in my opinion. CNN hyped this video like they were hyping the Super Bowl. And there's really only 60 seconds of relevant content. You show the police misconduct from overhead as they brutalize this man and make it clear this is an open and shut case and the guys are going to be convicted, and we move on. They treated this like a Super Bowl, enraging people, promoting the violence, and this is the most important story in the history of the planet. It's not. What's going on in Ukraine and our military involvement in Ukraine, that's the most important story going on in the world, but they don't want you focused on that.
That is such a good point, and you've been in the news business all your life, 35 years or something. I felt guilty putting that video on the screen, not because I was on anyone's side. I felt obviously bad about it. It was horrible. But because you don't want to put ugly things on TV and inflame passions. You want people to be reasonable and think things through and reach wise decisions. Why would news organizations, they really want to make people enraged. Clearly. They don't want us focused on reality. Hey, if they want us to devote an hour of coverage to this and weekend coverage of this, and they want to take us to a good place, I would examine the racial element of this, because there is a racial element. And this is a story about, hey, if they want us, and their inability to treat each other in a humane way. Everybody involved in this on the street level was either 24 to 32 years old. Everybody. It was a group of young black men, 5-on-1. Looked like gang violence to me. It looked like what young black men do when they're supervised by a single black woman. And that's what they got going on in the Memphis Police Department. They've elected or put some black woman in charge of the police force. And we're getting the same kind of chaos and disunity and violence that we see in a lot of these cities that are run by single mothers.
if we want to discuss the breakdown of family that leads to disrespect for authority, that causes you to resist the police and run from the police and not comply with the police because you resist authority at all time, because there was no male authority in your home, let's have that discussion. But that's not where they want to take us. They want to take us down the path of saying, you know what, this is Tucker Carlson's fault. This is some random this is Donald Trump's fault. It's not. It's the breakdown of family and the buying in to all these left-wing things that have nothing to do with promoting family.
You've been on the show so many times, and every single time you say something I never would have thought of, including what you just said, and I appreciate it. Jason.
Oh, they funny, ain't they? Oh my goodness, man! Listen, Tucker Carlson got some nerve. It's hilarious because I don't know why they're inflaming people. You mean like what you do every damn night, Tucker Carlson? Oh my goodness. It's got to be so comforting for racists like Carlson to have blacks like Whitlock and Kanye around to say what they want to say. See, my views aren't racist. Here's this black guy saying the same thing and he agrees with me. Oh my goodness. Whitlock, boy. But back to Whitlock. Oh, what happened here? Oh, back to Whitlock. Oh, I lost my... Back to Whitlock.
People just can't seem to fit in where it's been going. See, the black race can't afford you no more.
No, we can't. No, we can't. Oh my goodness, Whitlock though, man. I remember when the Eagles played the Cowboys one night on Monday night, the year that T.O. was here, 2004 season. It was that game where they opened, where that controversial opening when Nicole Sheridan jumped into T.O.'s arms. And Whitlock, that following weekend on the Sports Reporters with John Saunders on ESPN. And I thought Whitlock was all right at the time because John Saunders is sitting there, and he's kind of another one. But John Saunders sitting there, so who's to blame? And Jason Whitlock stepped up and he said, to me, who's to blame is ABC for thinking that a naked white woman jumping in the arms of a black man wouldn't cause controversy. Whitlock, though, to sit around and blame single black mothers, like he took it that's a new direction right there. Blaming on, I bet that Whitlock has probably used a 4-letter C word then to describe black females. And I could think of a 4-letter C word to describe him. Coon. But anyway, let's talk about a black man that's worth talking about, and that would be this. So what happened was this season, I was calling games for the Chester Clippers high school football, and they played at Interboro. And there was a name I kept saying repeatedly because this young man kept getting the ball. He kept Interboro in it for a minute before Chester grabbed the momentum at half, right before the half, and then one going away. Abu Kamara. So Kamara was their free safety as well, so he was a heck of a two-way player. Kamara was he was the Delaware County Player of the Year. He set a single season rushing record with 2,832 yards and 42 touchdowns. He was getting a little frustrated because he wasn't getting the Division I looks that he thought he should be getting. But then Kamara only got one scholarship offer, and it was the scholarship offer that matters most. This young man will be attending Yale University in the fall. Oh, by the way, Kamara also had 10 interceptions. God damn. So at times he was frustrated that he wasn't garnering national attention, but 2 days after National Signing Day, he announced that he will be pursuing his education and his football career at Yale University. So you set up now, boy. I tell you what, it don't matter where you get your degree from there. Shit. You've written your own ticket. You've written your own ticket there, ain't that some live Community radio, folks. Can't beat it. Hold on one second. Let me get my camera straight here. So yeah, Kamara's going to Yale. He did get Division I interest from Division I schools. Among them were Among them were, if you give me a moment. Hold on, folks. Okay, now we're back on track. So Kamara's scholarships. Okay. So Kamara did get interest from Penn State, Iowa State, Georgetown, Villanova as well, but he wound up taking his 10 interceptions and over 2,800 yards. I was watching that game. I remember that game, and I was like, how many carries does this guy have? But he just kept rolling. He's a workhorse. His coach said that he is very mature and a great leader. And Kamara, for his part, said that he's just happy that it's over with. It's been a process. And so there you go. Oh, speaking of decisions in high school. All right, so our next story is about a young lady, Arlisha Jenkins. And she was, Arlisha Boykins. She was a 22-year-old coach at Churchland High School in Portsmouth, Virginia. And she was missing a player who was attending a club tournament, so they were out of town. So I guess coach said next person up, and the next person up, well, here, I'll just let the news tell you.
File this one under one of the strangest stories I've ever heard of and talked about. Last Friday, we received an email from the mother of a player on the Churchland High School girls JV basketball team that an assistant coach on the team named Arlisha Boykins impersonated a 13-year-old player on the team that was out of town for a club basketball tournament. Here's video from that game. Churchland is in the black uniforms. Number one right there, just came up with the block shot. We're told that as Arlisha Boykins. They were taking on Nansman River. This video has been edited to show you some of the highlights. Arlisha is apparently a 22-year-old young woman going up against 14 and 15-year-old girls. Now, we have confirmed that Boykins is no longer an employee of Portsmouth Public Schools, and since this game, the student athletes on the team and parents decided to just end the season. They will not be playing any more games this year. Portsmouth Public Schools did launch an investigation into this matter. The details have not been revealed by officials quite yet. Now, I spoke with the father of the 13-year-old girl that was being impersonated. Here's what he had to say about his reaction when he heard the news.
Coaches, always preach to the kids, about integrity and those type of things. So I was just shocked. I just need, an apology, because I haven't yet received one from, the overseer of the program or nothing. He just came out and just told us the stipulations of what was going to happen, but there was no apology issued personally to us, even in his presence.
Oh my man, oh man. So I'm cracking up at how she's doing it. What are you and you're putting your players in a position. She's high-fiving the players. Yeah, good play, coach. Yeah. How are the players when she's putting on the uniform in the locker room before the game and they're sitting there like, they trying to figure this out. Like, what's annoying to me though, part of it, what's annoying is my man saying the parent of the player that got subbed for, he's saying, "Oh, I want an apology." What for? She probably helped your kid's statistics. I mean, she suited up with her number. Oh my goodness. He said his daughter isn't planning to return to Churchland High School next year. An investigation by the school conducted a meeting with parents, and the junior and varsity teams were suspended for the rest of the season. Damn, so Miss Boykins messed it up for the whole program. How did she think how did she think that was going to fly? I don't know. I don't know. Poor thing. She'll figure it out. So, we're going to be talking more about football. So, one thing about football is CTE. One of the outcomes that's possible for CTE. is CTE. We're bringing that up because does anybody remember this gentleman? That is Kellen Winslow Jr. And Kellen Winslow Jr. is trying to get his sentence. He has a 15-year sentence for sex crimes, and he's looking to get that reduced. He's looking to get it reduced to, he's already served a few years. He's now 39. He's representing himself, and he submitted a petition to lower his sentence. He thinks that there was a new criminal justice reform bill, and he thinks that it applies to his situation. The reform bill is saying that if you suffer trauma or what have you, then it could affect your sentence. So if you've been determined to have suffered from trauma, it can affect your sentence. So Winslow is saying that he suffered physical trauma, possibly due to CTE or a mild traumatic brain injury. Winslow said that trauma played a part in the commission of his crimes, and because the court is required to impose a new lower term for sentencing considerations. In 2021, Winslow agreed to a plea deal that sent him to prison for 14 years. He faced up to life in prison for the sex crimes. He raped 5 women. 5 women, including a homeless woman. I mean, goodness gracious, dude.
A crumb creep.
One rape of a homeless woman. Another victim was unconscious when he raped her. Assembly Bill 124, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed it into law in 2021, and the intent is to help criminal defendants who have experienced psychological, physical, or childhood trauma, including but not limited to abuse, neglect, exploitation, or sexual violence. But you got to give it to Winslow here. He got creative with the CTE defense. Now, Winslow is like, he reminds me of Aaron Hernandez because, I mean, wonderful football player, but making all these horrible life decisions. Oh my goodness. It's frustrating and infuriating. I mean, but then especially when I remember stuff like this. I mean, dude, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You could pull something like that and you're out there doing crumb
creep.
Oh my goodness. And I'm sorry, but homeless woman? Oh my goodness. Man, oh man. Well, good luck to Winslow and the appeal for that. But I'm sorry, but you got to stay. No, dude. You got to stay. I'm in favor of releasing like dangerous guys after they get old and feeble. But I mean, like Winslow, he seems like he'll be 80 walking up to a 12-year-old with a knife. Come on, give it to me. Like, oh my goodness. Good morning, Gerald. Hey, Gerald. I had it on this time. You should have seen me last night. Boy, I tell you, in the mirror, if you leave that motherfucker, I wish you leave that microphone on. I wish you would. So I had it straight this time. Otherwise, I'd have gave myself an ass whooping. Oh, let's talk some basketball. It got crazy with the NBA trades, huh? Oh, this young fella, I've been busting jokes on Kyrie Irving forever. And the Nets finally cashed in their chips with that whole situation. When they signed Harden, when they signed Durant, and they signed Irving, I said, oh, this is not going to work. You can't just put together 3 dudes and say, okay, bang, we got a super team. What's this whole thing with the whole big 3? Teams fall in love with that now. When you talk big 3s, all right, you say, look at the Celtics, all right? But they had players that developed there and wound up becoming big names. You don't just grab a name here, grab a name there, throw them together and have a super team. It just doesn't work in most cases. If so, those guys have got to want to play together and understand their roles. But I mean, Kyrie Irving now, he's a member of the Dallas Mavericks. And Jason Kidd, Mavericks head coach, said that Irving has always got his mind on ball. And I'm like, yeah, okay. The same guy who wanted his own team more than he wanted to win titles. The same guy who forced his way out of Boston. The same guy who feared getting microchipped. The same guy who stuck his hands in some sugar honey iced tea with that black Israelite tweet. No. This is going to go bad, as all things do with Irving. But what position? You got to give the Nets a shout out because you wind up cleaning up that whole mess. But trying to put that team together in the beginning was the height of arrogance to me. But even still, people like, it could have worked because that team was so awesome. Yeah, that team works if you're playing NBA 2K, all right? If you're talking in real life, those personalities, no. Speaking of failures that you saw coming, oh, by the way, I just found out, or Friday morning I woke up, I didn't have nothing on it, the Darren trade. We'll talk more about that next week. But speaking of teams that I knew were going to fail, the week before last, didn't get to talk about it, the AFC title game. So I'm watching the Bengals after when they beat Buffalo the week before. The Bengals just seemed to me to have the attitude. They were acting like they won a championship game. So you had Burrow talking all that stuff. You had the mayor eventually flapping his yap. And then I saw Joe Mixon on the field, walking around. He's got the camera out, taking the cell phone, right? That's when I knew that the Bengals were losing that game. Because Mixon, speaking of violence, Mixon, if you might remember, when he was in college, he pulled this one. That's him on the left coming in. Now he's on the right side of the screen. He's about to get into an discussion with this young lady. Bop! What a douchebag. Out of control. Knock that. You see, he combined the suit. You ever watch UFC? They got you'll see fighters use what they call the Superman punch when they jump in the air. They fake one way and they're throwing a punch while they're in the air. He combined that because he kind of left his feet when he hit the poor girl. He combined that with the right hook. That's otherwise, I guess, is known as the Mixon Mollywop. But that's when I knew that the Bengals were losing. Speaking of the AFC title game, you Cowboys fans, we seen your owner get played a little bit for being, or get put on blast for being a closet racist. But speaking of closet racist, let's talk about your boy Tony Romo. And oh my goodness, doing paycheck work announcing games nowadays. But it's bad enough, and I read a report where CBS pulled him in, like, yo, come here. Step into my office, because he's showing up unprepared. It's obvious when you watch a game. Like, this dude he collecting that big fat paycheck. But here was Romo during the AFC title game. Here was the call they made. Three what? Oh, okay. Oh, it gets better. Now, just in case you thought he might not, here's something more obvious here, and this is from the Cowboys game against the Vikings.
Like it was a game. This giant, this figure, I mean, this guy, it was just like such a cool moment, special.
That's your boy, Cowboys fans. All these Cowboys fans here in Chester, what you think about that? We only got, as far as Eagles fans go, we can only say, oh, we only got one proven racist, and he sucked. He wasn't our franchise quarterback or our owner. We had Riley Cooper. So we're still winning there. Oh, my goodness. Tisk, tisk, tisk. But on to our next story. You know what? On to our next story when we got the big game right here, baby.
E-A-T-L-E-S, Eagles!
Yes, sir. Today is the day. Kansas City versus our Birds. Yes, and I said our Birds. Let's talk real quick. I was looking for storylines that were going to get beaten to death over the next 2 weeks when after the championship games concluded. One of them, which we knew, was definitely going to be the Kelce brothers. So I'm sitting there watching it because I figured by the time this next 2 weeks are over, we're going to know their parents' government names by the time. Mom's name is Donna, by the way, so there you go. They already pushed that into my brain. But it got me to thinking, though, when I was watching the Kelces over the year, and who can forget this all-timer from brother Jason. Look at that. That's glorious. That's glorious.
You love the Eagles, let me get a hell yeah! You love the Philadelphia Eagles, let me get a hell yeah!
And then you got his brother.
Cincinnati Mayor, know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni! You gotta fight for your right to party!
You know, when I watch those two as adults, I picture 4th of July, like when they were teenagers and sitting there with their father. Because, I mean, sitting there with their father and their father's fireworks are for underachievers, boys. Let's cut up a few sticks of dynamite between the few of us and let's have some real fun. One storyline with parents that didn't get a lot of hype, with no surprise, is Jalen Hurts. Look at my man. Look at Marion Hurts. Look at his father right there. Look at that. Just oozing confidence right there. Look at that. That is a brother who knows he's all right. Everything. By the way, his son hadn't even put on a helmet yet for the Crimson Tide. And look how confident this brother is. Just cool. That storyline didn't get touched at all. Coach Hurts is the coach's son. That's the coach. That's the father, daddy coach. They didn't run that storyline very hard. But what are you going to do? He is black. So therefore, it is what it is. But as far as the game goes, I've gone over it time and again in my head, trying to figure out, like, how can the Birds lose this game? And remember, a couple of weeks ago, I sat right here and I was like, I've run through all the scenarios and I can't see them not winning by double digits. And sure enough, the Eagles won before Purdy got hurt. Everything was going to be going the Birds' way. Like, if Purdy hadn't got hurt, the Eagles still would have won by 10 at least. But I'm back to the Chiefs. I'm looking at it. I'm trying to see it. I'm looking at the matchups. And, you know, the Eagles, when you think about it, the Eagles are strongest in where it matters most, the trenches. Eagles have the better offensive line and defensive line. And point, game, set, match. I think the Birds are going to win by 10 today. Eagles are 1.5 point favorites. So I will be taking that money line. Because that close, I'll be real butthurt if I bet on the Birds and they only win by 1. So I'm going to take the Birds on the money line. My one brother was taking Kelce, those prop bets, those in-game bets. My one brother is taking that Kelce bet, the one Kelce over 70 yards. That seems like a safe bet because that's going to be Mahomes' go-to. the Eagles secondary, between the Eagles secondary and the pass rush. Only thing that gives me pause is the same thing that's been giving me pause for the past 2 seasons about the Birds, and that's Mr. Jonathan Gannon. But I'm thinking, even he can't fuck this. Even he can't mess this up, right? Like Howie Roseman, man, oh man, badass. All right, so with that said, that's going to bring us to the end of our first block on the D train. We're only going to do 2 blocks today because I've got a lot of pre-gaming to do. So with that said, we're going to go to break real quick. You're on the D train with Darren DeVoue on CMPRadio.net. And don't forget, the Boys and Girls Club of Chester is the place for you to do after-school programs, get your child socialized, have all kinds of activities. Go to Boys Girls Club Chester and check out their schedule, and go to the CMPRadio.net YouTube or Facebook page to check out all the shows that are available here on CMPRadio.net. I'm in the Mood, which is a new edition, as well as Bringing Life Through Change. And don't forget Respect for Life with Mr. Muhammad and the Sisters podcast, Sisters on Air podcast. I don't know if they'll be on today, as well as the Cut Up podcast. I doubt they'll be coming on today. They'll be somewhere cutting up and getting ready for today's game. Right, guys? Right. Anyway, you're on the D Train with Darren DeVoue on CMPRadio.net, the voice of Chester.
Nobody leaves the train. We will stop here only for 2 minutes. Captain.
What does she want us to do? She wants us to blow up the train.
Oh, no, you misunderstand.
Perfect.
What shape is the train in? It'll be repaired by morning.
Recapping the week like no one else.
Oh, speaking of frauds, does anybody know this gentleman here? This gentleman, this shit, how can I be down? He's known as the Liver King. He's the Liver King, showing you why he is. Here's the Liver King showing you why.
What up, finalist? Liver King here. We just took down a Mongolian yak. And where do you think we're going to start? Of course, the liver first, because liver is king.
Dude, liver's disgusting. Alright, let's talk about that. Liver is disgusting. I remember when my mom made liver and onions when I was a kid. Like, I ate the one that I was like, God, it's awful. It smells funny. It tastes. What can I do to get this off the house building in perpetuity? And then I go to school and basically learn about the body and learn about the internal organs. And then, like, as I learn about him, I'm gonna say, that's the body's toilet. Why would anybody want to eat liver? Like, all that stuff passes through there. That's part of the filtration system of your body. And, dude.
I see the Bishop's finally giving you a train.
Some train. You see any artillery? A road that a man can feel is important? On the D train, Darren DeVoue.
Second block of the D Train with Darren DeVoue on CMPRadio.net, the station and the voice of Chester. Next sponsor is Northern Marketing and Design. Ask Northern Marketing and Design's customers, and they will tell you what sets Northern Marketing and Design apart is their ability to custom each marketing campaign to their unique customers' needs. So, you have the same question. You look up and they notice the same common answers. This other customers will tell you it's the passion, storytelling, when meets branding, custom fit to my business, etc. Go to Northern Marketing and Design, and they will craft each marketing plan to fit your unique business need and budget. At Northern Marketing and Design, they're not just a hired service, they are a teammate to your business's success. So, oh man, So, oh my goodness, the Chester bankruptcy, right? And it's funny because when I came into the station to sit down and get ready for the day's, sitting right here was a packet that says City of Chester departmental summary, budget departmental summaries. And I was like, oh boy, I don't want no parts of looking at that. There's been news in the Chester bankruptcy. A judge in the case called the city's government dysfunctional, and he authorized changes, allowing the receiver, Michael Dowery, to proceed as planned. Essentially, Dowery will essentially take control of the government, but did agree to limiting powers of city council members by stripping them of their department head duties, including oversight of the city's finances. Chester's situation is a rarity. Only 31 of the nation's 3,600 municipalities have filed for bankruptcy in the 85 years that the option has been available. Judge said she was extremely troubled by the fact that the council member, who was also the chief financial officer, failed to tell the receiver that the city had lost $400,000 in a phishing scam until 3 months after it happened. She said Mayor Thaddeus Kirkland had appointed a department heads based on loyalty, city council, and the mayor's own inclination in a particular year, rather than on the person's actual qualifications. So they're saying that Kirkland, the judge were saying that Mayor Slappy Squirrel, oh shoot, remember that time? Anyway, she said that Mayor Slappy had appointed his former son-in-law to an economic development position, and that his only accomplishment was to obtain a liquor license for one of his own businesses. Dowery also said that Mayor Slappy had threatened him before. Oh, it's a mess. Shit on your fingers, I tell ya.
How the f*** did this happen?
Man, next story. Oh man, speaking of disaster news in Chester, did anybody hear about the State Correctional Institution having unknown hazardous materials incident last week? 2 p.m. last Tuesday, 10 people had to be transported to Crozier, Chester, and Riddle. 8 were from the prison and 2 were first responders. Delaware County Emergency Services Director Timothy Boyce said several persons being medically evaluated for exposure to an unknown substance, no life-threatening, and facility is secured. The dispatch for a hazardous material incident was at the 4th Street and Morton Avenue facility, and it went out shortly before 1 p.m. So after about 1:30, the facility had canceled all visitation. Chester Deputy Fire Chief John Shirley said the incident began when a Crozier ambulance was dispatched for an inmate having a possible seizure. The patient was in a large group meeting on Suboxone, a drug that is given as a step-down drug treatment to help overcome opioid addiction. The patient was suffering from shortness of breath, rapid heart, and feeling nauseous. When the medics arrived, they and staff had been in contact with the patient, began suffering similar symptoms. So at this point, the crews declared a mass casualty incident, bringing additional ambulances for assistance. And that's when Shirley said that they performed atmospheric monitoring of the building, which came back normal. Shirley also said that they are investigating the case that the inmate worked as a janitor in the prison, and the cause could have been mixing of the cleaning products that he got on his clothes. So We got enough environmental disasters working in this town from what I can tell as a Philly expatriate. Not that I got room to talk because Philly is one polluted town as well. So I'm not dissing. Oh, man, here's another sad story from Delco. So last year, we did a story on a young man Anthony Alexander. Anthony Alexander was a young teen from Collingdale who rescued 3 people from an icy pond. He died recently in an upper shooting that police are saying was accidental, and the shooting happened in Upper Darby. It happened on last Sunday, 4:45 p.m. Upper Darby police responded to a first-floor apartment along the 2400 block of Marshall Road in Drexel Hill. They found 17-year-old Alexander on a couch in the living room suffering from a gunshot wound to the side of the face, where he was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead at 6:12. The shooter, Demir Hickman of Collingdale, was determined to be in possession of the gun, but he didn't have a permit to carry a concealed firearm. They're saying that the shooting was accidental. Hickman surrendered to Upper Darby police with his attorney and his mother, investigators said. During an interview with Hickman, he said that he and other people inside the apartment were live streaming themselves on this goddamn social media and passing around 2 guns, according to the affidavit. Hickman said he was holding a Glock-style handgun when he put his hand on the trigger, quote-unquote, a teeny bit, causing the gun to go off and strike Alexander. After accidentally shooting Alexander, Hickman claimed that he didn't know there was one in the head, referring to a round in the chamber. Oh my goodness. Hickman allegedly told investigators at first that he had dropped the gun and then fled the apartment, but police said the teen was captured on surveillance video hopping a fence near the apartment and walking through the front yard of a home while removing the gun from his pocket and then concealing it again. Hickman was charged as an adult with 3rd-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter and a weapons offense. So we got 2 teenagers, 1 life ruined and 1 life lost. What the Hickman is in jail. His bail was set at 10% of $750,000. Sucks. Oh my goodness. But let's go up. Well, actually, since we're in Upper Darby, let's stay there for a minute and let's talk about my girl here. Should have put in. I haven't talked to P. Can't get a hold of P. We might not be doing P's Weekly Hero this week, but she might have been one. This is Upper Darby Mayor Barbara Ann Keffler, and she was arrested for DUI in late January, and she issued an apology recently. She was driving under the influence and said she was seeking treatment for her alcohol addiction. She was pulled over on a Thursday in late January, and she posted a statement to the Upper Darby Township website. 56-year-old Keffler acknowledged her arrest for driving under the influence and said she's been dealing with stress from constant personal attacks. Oh, where's my... She was elected mayor in 2019 and said the township's 2 acting co-chief administrative officers will continue to handle day-to-day operations. Well, you know me, folks, and you know I got my sources. I actually have Keffler's call to her husband to come get her out of jail.
Have you been drinking?
Doc, I am gassed.
What were you drinking?
Well, bourbon. These 2 fellas...
How much would you say that you drank?
What do you say?
How much would you say that you drank?
About this much.
Never mind the fact that Miss Keffler's voice is male in that recording. That was her. Keffler has no plans to step down. So she said that in an email to other said the Derby commissioner, Mayor Keffer, is taking time to get the help she needs to recover, but she has no intention of stepping down from her position as mayor. We remain in regular contact with her, and the township will function under the leadership of myself and our other co-chief administrative officer, Rita LaRue. So there's that. Stay strong, sister. Oh my goodness. Oh, so a little bit more upbeat here. Let's talk about, I should have followed this with the story about young the departed Mr. Alexander. But this is the Baltimore Peace Movement, and they had a nice little Black History Month event, that the video drum circles and what have you, and they're launching. It's been launched since March of last year, and it's Power to the Peaceful, and it's a peace movement in Baltimore. So hopefully that catches some traction, because we need some peace everywhere we can get it nowadays. So, oh my goodness. I remember a couple of years ago, there was a cop in North Carolina. The gentleman was trying to run from this cop, and the cop, he took the lazy way out. Here's a quick video right here. Hold on, where are we at here, Darren? Bring it out. Oh, you didn't run those pics. Dude, come one more time, Darren. Dude, one more time. Hold on. Look at this. I wouldn't even call that running. Like, come on. I mean, you could have, I don't understand it, man, when because I would think as a cop, if you've been trained as a cop and whatnot, you would see a guy running that slow from you and be like, oh shit, this is my moment. I've been looking for this in there. I don't have a batarang to take him down, but I got this rock. And softball pitch that joint into an angle, watch him drop, and they be like, you know what I mean? Somebody, check out the camera. Oh, did you get that? Did you get that? Yo, do me a favor. Text that to, all right, I got it here. Thank you, appreciate that. No, instead what this cop does is whip out a gun and let off 8 shots. So when I saw that video initially years ago, I'm like, damn, this slow running dude, and you still pull out a gun. I said, what's next? They're gonna be shooting paraplegic dudes? Is that what's next? And then last week comes this. Who hasn't seen this incident where cops in LA, they shot look at this guy. He's a double amputee. He lived in Texas, and according to his family, he lost his legs in an incident with police when he was living in Texas. So he's got some issues with police. Apparently he was having an incident. Cops were called. They were called to the scene because they were saying there was a report that the gentleman in the wheelchair, his name was Anthony Lowe, they said he had a knife and he had stabbed someone. Mr. Lowe made his way back to his wheelchair when the cops roll up, if you'll forgive the expression. The cops roll up, and then this goes down. Guys, come on. You see it from a different angle here. Dude, come on, man. Come on. He's this high. All right? You could just walk up. Even if he's got the knife swinging, you could just, get out, little man. He's just on his back trying to, come on. You don't even have to, even if he's running from you, like, what do you even got the guns like? You can just, like, get your steps in, check your pulse, check your Fitbit while you're walking on like a couple of feet from him. Oh man. So there they go again. There they go again. A damn double amputee. Like, damn. I know us black males are supposed to be superhuman when it comes to criminal activity, but so there's an investigation, of course, but I think this was called on, you saw the video, was called on. Lieutenant Hugo Renega of the LA County Sheriff's Homicide Unit typically investigates officer shootings, said the stabbing victim was a 46-year-old man and who was in stable condition in the hospital who had surgery. Hunting Park police declined to comment on Lowe's death or say what happened before the encounter because the shooting is under investigation. The officers in Lowe's death have not been named publicly, but they've been placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of the investigation. So, fucking A. Oh, speaking of happy Black History Month, folks. Anybody check under the Tubman tree? I checked my Frederick Douglass stocking. I haven't gotten anything yet, but Aramark decided to have a great idea to celebrate Black History, and Aramark, which is a vendor they supply lunch meals to a lot of schools, and so they decided that Black History Month was a great time to unveil at a middle school in New York a meal that had chicken, waffles, and watermelon on the first day of Black History Month. And this was at Nyack Middle School in Rockland County. Oh, could you be any more obvious? The school's principal, David A. Johnson, wrote a letter to the parents saying, "We are extremely disappointed by this regrettable situation and apologize to the entire Nyack community for the cultural insensitivity displayed by our food service provider. The incident is the latest example of black people continuing to battle misguided stereotypes about their fondness for certain foods and racist tropes against them." Oh man, they kill me with that though. Watermelon. Everybody loves watermelon. Everybody loves fried chicken. Why are we always on their brain? Like Ron DeSantis, sitting there black. When you watch Ron DeSantis and all his executive orders and whatnot, it's like I picture a guy who just sits there at night. Black people owning things, microwaving their food, having refrigerators to house their food. Black people, like they were always on their mind. I don't understand. Johnson said the lunch menu changed from what was originally planned. Lunch menu for the month of February posted to the school's website showed the food vendor had planned to serve Philly cheesesteak, broccoli, and fresh fruit on the 1st of this month. So there's that. Next up, what we got? Oh man, speaking of racist activity, so this here is young lady that's Rosie Yanis on your right, and that's on the left is Rosie's neighbor. Now this is in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Rosie lives next door to her 80-year-old and 90-year-old parents. On the other side of her parents' house hangs this flag with this brandished by this neighbor. So the flag, though, extends on to Rosie's parents' property. So Rosie had been complaining about it, and then she just had enough of it. So on January 28th, Rosie got tired of the flag hanging over onto their side of the property, and Rosie went down and took that bad boy down herself. She said if this was so then Rosie wound up getting arrested. They arrested her for criminal trespass. even though she never got on this gentleman's property. And I use the term very loosely, but Rosie got arrested, and she was, because again, the flag was hanging over the fence. So the neighbor said the neighbor's brother, anybody has the right to fly any kind of flag they want to fly. If I want to fly a flag, hold on, I'm not doing it right. If I want to show a flag on my house that says kiss my ass, I have a right to do that. The brother also says that the family didn't do anything wrong. Said if the wind's blowing right now at us, the flag will be in this direction. But the flag is flying out of the south. The wind is flying out of the south. So the flag flies in that direction. You can't control the wind. Anyway, the Galveston County District Attorney's Office said they are still reviewing the facts of the case and have not made a decision whether or not to proceed with charges against Miss Yanis. Or Yanis, I guess you could pronounce it. But what are you going to do? So, oh man, this is hilarious. So, anybody drink fire water? No. I like my alcohol to be alcohol, right? So that's funny because Firewater actually is now in a class action suit. Turns out consumers are suing Sazerac Company Incorporated, the makers of Fireball whiskey, for fraud and misrepresentation. Apparently, the mini bottles of the alcoholic beverage don't contain actual whiskey. According to the company website, smaller bottles named Fireball Cinnamon are made from a blend of malt beverage and wine, while the whiskey-based products, the larger bottles, are called Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey, according to the company website. Customers wondered what products they presumed to contain liquor were doing on the shelves. According to the complaint, the class action complaint, customers realized the description of the product was malt beverage with natural whiskey and other flavors and caramel color, insinuating whiskey is an ingredient used in the drink when it actually uses whiskey flavor. When the label means to say is that the product contains natural whiskey flavors and other flavors, but not by including natural whiskey. Purchasers who look closely will expect the distilled spirit of whiskey was added as a separate ingredient. The lawsuit also states that given the lack of whiskey, 99 cents for a 1.7 ounce bottle is overpriced. I say that's you people's fault for buying Fireball and expecting alcohol, but that's just me. So one last story, all right? And this here, speaking, we talked about, I should have paired this with the hazmat story at SCI facility, because this little pebble, and it's practically a pebble, look at it, 6 millimeters by 8 millimeters. Think about how tiny that is. 6 millimeters by 8 millimeters. You got fingernails bigger than that. So that was actually a nuclear capsule, and it was being transported in Australia across a over 1,000-mile journey. They lost this nuclear tablet for a moment. This thing is so small it could have gotten stuck in somebody's tire. And the red line you see was the possible where it could have been lost. They're saying it could have been anywhere along this whole route. Now this gets me to thinking though, all right, so when I delivered for Amazon, there was plenty of times where you pick up the package and I'm like, this seems like way too much packaging for what's in here. How about we switch that idea around? Something that dangerous should have so much packaging that nobody can lose it. You can see it from a distance away. I mean, it makes sense to me, but I don't know. I'm no nuclear physicist, nor do I play one on TV. But I don't have a hold of P, and I'm going to get this computer maintenance this fall. Go to my man 123 Computers in Upper. Let me see if I can get him to be a sponsor. But anyway, you know what, folks? With that said, I got some pre-gaming to do. You got some pre-gaming to do. And please, wherever you watch the game, the DUI patrols are going to be out today, folks. So enjoy responsibly. Find yourself a DD, designated driver, or tap, 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 tap. Gregory, Johnny, whoever is on his way. He'll be there in 15 minutes. You Uber, all right? Please be safe. And Cowboys fans, try not to hate too much. Try not to hate too much as today's big game as the Birds try and put on another ring. And I don't want to hear that. I had a Cowboys fan coming up to me the other day. Well, my team's won more Super Bowls than you. And I'm like, dude, the last time the Cowboys won a playoff game, you weren't born. Well, that was an exaggeration, but like my point still stands. I don't understand. We've talked about this plenty of times on the show, but thank you, folks. Thank you for joining us and spending your time this morning with us. Again, there's good podcasts, and then there's this one. So, where's Millie? Wait a second. Okay, Millie. All right, Millie. We'll talk later. But in the meantime, folks, again, be safe. Have a peaceful, productive, positive week. Don't forget to check out the cmpradio.net for all of our upcoming shows. The Boys and Girls Club of Chester. Go to boysgirlsclubchester.com and you can find .org and you can find out about their after-school activities and their programming. Don't forget our other sponsor, Northern Marketing and Design. They'll tailor your marketing campaign to fit your needs. And also, don't forget Pressure Ink. They can handle all your printing needs, T-shirts, cards, signs, you name it. Pressure Ink is where it's at for your printing needs. And with that, folks, we are going to take it down. But I can't see it. I'm going to Harris. I'm going to the window. 2 fistfuls of cash on the money line. Yo, I actually did bet on the AJ Brown anytime touchdown against the Niners. I got hurt on that one. Yeah. But anyway, with that said, folks, thanks again, and please be safe this weekend and go Birds.
What shape is the train in? It'll be repaired by morning.
Recapping the week like no one
The gentleman in our next story, he has staged.
Nobody leaves the train, Rivers. What shape is the train in? It'll be repaired by... What shape is the train in? It'll be repaired by...
Oh, fucking hell. Fuck it. Have a good day, folks.